Guys, what's up? Back here with Ray.
Yeah.
Ray, we're seeing a lot of stuff on social media lately.
Yeah.
A lot of, I would like to say, delusional females looking for relationships. They got like this hierarchy of needs and wants. And from a guy's point of view, how realistic are these?
Well, you don't ever really know. You intuitively kind of have an idea like, oh, like it can't, like that seems kind of like high standards, right? But then when you look at the statistical data, like on the census, and you gather information, like we looked up today, I got some information today, and I went with, my wife worked in a nightclub for 7 years.
Yeah.
And so all the girls that work in a nightclub, obviously they're really pretty. They all have like high standards, right? Yeah. They're all like social media people and all that stuff. And
they're all making good money.
And they're making good money. And so you hear the same stuff all the time, but as they get older, right? Keep in mind, like my wife now is 38, so these girls are somewhere in that range. And their expectations didn't change though. Right?
Gotcha.
They're still single. They have no kids, right? And this is what this is what I put in here. Not married, any race, at least 6 foot tall, because I hear that one a lot.
At least 6 foot
tall.
At least 6
foot tall.
How tall are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 5'11".
Okay, I'm 6'1".
So I'm not in that range.
So I already know that I'm in the top 14% being 6 foot and over.
Yes.
In the world.
14%.
14% in the world, not even the US, in the world.
Yeah, so this is just US.
Yeah, this is just US. Okay.
At least 6 foot tall, not obese, because nobody
wants to be.
Yeah, nobody wants at least. If they had a choice, they'd probably say not obese.
And even though they can be obese, they still don't want their partner to be obese.
Yeah, I mean, there might be some chubby chasers out there. Yeah. I'm not going to hate on that. Like, there's probably some girls that do enjoy that or are attracted to that for whatever reason. That's cool. Like, nothing wrong with that. And then I put earning at least $100,000 a year, because
which seems to be the standard,
that seems to be like the minimum.
The minimum.
Right? Like, if that's the minimum, that's what it's got to be. So your chances of meeting this guy or even this person, the amount of...
Give me the things quickly. So over 6 foot.
Not married, any race, at least 6 foot tall, not obese, earning at least $100,000 a year, 0.45%. 0.45%
of the population.
Of the population is
in America.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah.
There's a lot of delusional people out there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the odds of meeting that guy is very small.
And if you do meet him, is he going to be interested in you? Because you could replay it the other way. Is she this tall? Is she this skinny? Is she this pretty? Is she making this amount of money?
Yep.
So is this guy going to be even, if you do even meet this guy, is this guy going to be even interested in you?
Yeah.
And does that guy know how rare he is too?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
You think so, too?
I would think so.
I didn't think so. I didn't think I was very extremely tall or making a certain amount of money, but it's not until I started hearing this stuff, I'm like, oh, wow. Now I'm starting to realize where I'm actually at.
Yeah. I mean, some guys probably don't know, but I think some guys are too aware of that, and probably like take advantage of that a little bit, as like dangling a carrot, for some of the girls they date.
I just want to make it clear that we're not picking on females.
No, not at all.
Just as many males out there with the same type of stupidity.
100%. I mean, I've had this is a conversation I've had with multiple, guy friends of mine too, who are like in relationships, but they're not really sure they want to be in the relationship, whatever. And it's like, well, this is the thing. Do you have an idea of the girl you want to date, right? Like, is she 5'9"? Is she make this much money? Whatever. Like, do you whatever your parameters are for this person? Well, then ask yourself, are you like the guy that she'd want to date?
That's the thing, right?
Are you that guy? Because who do you have to become to be worthy of that person and to make that relationship happen? Because those are really important things to understand.
And that can just be a look thing alone.
It could be.
Because, I mean, if a girl is a 7 or 8 and you're a 4 or 5, unless you're lucky enough to be a next door neighbor or work together, Tinder, they're just going to swipe through you. Unless it's a friend or a friend, you actually get the chance to make that conversation, to show them you're more than just an average looking guy. Chances are they're probably not going to look at you twice. And vice versa, from a male to a female. And I don't like saying it, but it is what it is, right? We're attracted to people first. It's
Yep.
the first thing you notice.
Yeah, we're chemically attracted to people first.
It's the first thing you notice.
Yeah, there's science behind all that. Like if you have a certain amount or certain types of chemicals that are flowing through your body, and I don't mean like drugs or alcohol or vitamins. I'm talking like the actual emotions that you release into your bloodstream. Those are specific chemicals. So when you feel anger, for example, you form those polypeptides in your brain. They get dropped in your bloodstream. You feel that rush of anger come over you. You feel it when you get angry, or you get aroused, or you get excited, or you get scared. Those are all emotions and things that's an actual chemical gets dropped in your body. So when you match chemically usually with somebody else, you initially have an attraction right away, which is really interesting because it brings that topic up of like when girls are attracted to toxic guys all the time, well, maybe they're toxic themselves and they just don't realize it.
So, for sure.
Right? So, and it's not just like they are this, they are that. It's like you guys are matching chemically. That's where that initial attraction is coming from. You know, maybe you're addicted to some of these rushes of chemicals and emotions that you put into your body.
I could
right?
see that for sure.
And so those are really interesting conversations too. So like, who do you have to become to date the peaceful, awesome, loving, supportive person, right? Like maybe you have to kind of think about how you're going to rework yourself to become that person.
Yeah, and why would they be interested in you unless you were that type of person too, right?
Yeah, why would they wouldn't even have an attraction. You actually probably won't even be attracted to them if you ran across them. Because if you're already a toxic person, you're only going to be looking, or you're only going to sniff out other people.
You're running a complete different levels or planes. Yeah.
You're going to be running in different groups, right?
I don't think people realize too, if you're in the top 1% of America, the 1% earner, you're making $400,000 a year. Yeah. I don't think people realize that. Yeah. I think people think, the rich people, they're making millions and millions and millions of dollars. They're making $100 million. That's the 1% of the 1%. Yeah. It's so rare. So it was $380,000. Now it's $400,000 per year, puts you on top 1% earner in this country. Yeah. People don't realize that. And it's like, it's not that much money, but it's also a significant amount of money. And the way I always talk about it, if you make $400,000 every single year, first year you buy a house, second year you buy another house, third year you buy a boat, it starts to accumulate very quickly. Yeah. It's more money than you could possibly spend. Yeah. And then on the opposite end, 8 out of 10 of us live paycheck to paycheck. So whether you're a videographer or you own a business or you just work at Starbucks or you're a doctor, we're all buying bigger, better things we can't afford. We're all racking up credit card debt. We're all living paycheck to paycheck. So you talk about these girls and what they're looking for, but you got to realize 80% of us are paycheck to paycheck. Yeah.
Even, I'm gonna throw this one out there. Even people that are making $400,000 a year are paycheck to paycheck.
That's exactly what I'm getting at. Like, because they got bigger mortgages, they're wearing nicer clothes.
They call it Parkinson's law. Like if you don't already have the habits when you're making $60K a year to like save and to like invest and to like, have your finances structured in a way that benefits your growth, your financial growth. If you get to $400K, you're just going to be in the same situation you were at 60.
You got a bigger car loan, a bigger
car,
mortgage,
bigger house.
You're wearing a nicer suit. It's all it is to it.
That's the only difference. That's it. You're still paycheck to paycheck.
And you're just stuck. Yep. You lose that job, you are screwed. Yeah. Like, the acronym for job? No. JOB, just over broke. And it's true, right? Yeah, Think about it. Like, and that goes back to if you're a doctor making $300K or you're a barista making $30,000, $40,000 a year, you are just over broke because that money is keeping you afloat because 80% of us are paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. Super scary. And I think, less than 80% of us have got $500 to our name in case of emergency. Car breaks down.
That's always a weird one to me, like that people don't even have $1,000 for emergency. I was like, that's so weird.
Super scary, right?
Yeah, it's weird to even think about. Like thinking about that to me, it makes me worried.
I'm worried for other people. And I've been there. I've been there plenty of times.
Yeah, me too. But I mean, I was like 19, or something. Like that's a little different. But when you're, once you start, that should be your goals is to like, okay, let's set up a little cushion for myself. And then that will allow you a little more, freedom to do some investing and some other, like you have to.
Even just freedom.
That's
like, just freedom. So Dave Ramsey, a lot of people like him. A lot of people don't like him. But what I liked about him is $1,000 safety net. first thing you need to do.
Yeah.
Have you heard him say this?
No.
He goes, get $1,000 behind you because it gives you a little bit of breathing room. Your car breaks down, you pop a tire, you need a new battery, your animal gets sick, whatever. You have some type of leeway. And then after that, the biggest thing he talks about is getting 6 months of savings behind you. So, and what that does, and once I kind of got it, it gives you freedom. If you're in a job you don't like, you don't have to go back the next day. You have freedom. You have the ability to take a month off and get a new job. Or you want to go on vacation, or you just want to be able to breathe.
Yeah.
So I know there's a million different ways of doing it, but I like what he says like that.
Yeah, I think I like Dave Ramsey for what he does. I would call him like the first step in just understanding finances. Like he's not like, I wouldn't put him and be like, he knows everything. Like he knows, like he's not, a billionaire either. Like he's not incredibly rich.
He's got his way of doing it.
Yes, his is very safe, but he's not going to make anybody wealthy. You're not going to get wealthy following Dave Ramsey. You're not going.
But you're also not going to be in debt or stressing out of your brain.
Sure,
too.
I agree.
So
That's what I mean. He's a great first place to start. And I think that he's a great place to go for probably 80% of people. Yeah.
And that's the thing. If 8 out of 10 of us live in paycheck to paycheck, there's no guidance for the next generation.
Yeah.
Like your parents aren't teaching you because your parents don't know. So it's just like, and you're not teaching your children because you don't know.
Yeah.
So it's good to have some type of reference or some type of information that, hey, this guy's got some ideas, some type of blueprint.
I think he's a great place to start, like I said. And then as you go down the rabbit hole and learn more about finances, you'll realize that he's like just the first step. He's basically just helping you out with the first few months of, like how you're going to operate. But if you want to go get wealthy or you want to be rich or whatever, like that's not going to get you there. Like
I agree.
No one saved their way to being rich.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So,
and I saw a video recently, and it was a guy talking about people who make $100,000. He goes, it doesn't just happen. There's 2 different ways. You either go to college, you get educated, and you get a really good job, or you go the path that we do, where you self-educate and you hustle and you grind and you fail and you get back up and you go again, and you develop yourself as the person who's worthy to make that amount of money.
Yeah.
Because unless you're worthy, you're not making $100,000. True?
It's totally true.
You 100% have got to develop that person to become that ability to do that.
You're going to get paid for the value you bring to the marketplace. It's bottom line. So like, this may be controversial, but like when people talk about raising the minimum wage, I always think like, well, what's the point? Because like that job is not where you shouldn't stay at that job. That should be like you start at that job and then you like learn some new things, you gain more value, and you should be moving up.
It's going to upset a lot of people.
You should be moving up.
I totally
one
agree.
way or another. Like even if you're like, well, you know what? I'm just going to be, a hamburger flipper. Well, that's fine, but that hamburger flipper only brings a certain amount of value.
And you need to accept.
You need to accept that.
Yeah.
Like the world's going to change. There probably isn't going to be hamburger flippers in the next like 10 years.
Yeah.
So like, those minimum wage jobs are just going to go away. That's what's going to happen because business owners are going to say, hey, if this guy is going to be making $20 an hour to do this menial job, that value isn't worth what it costs me to buy and sell and provide that to the marketplace. That value isn't there. So that job, you're going to figure out a way to get rid of that job or have one person do less of it or do more of it, right, at one time. Like that's how it's going to work because it's a value thing.
I think there's always going to be like some type of minimum wage job, but you said, if you're making minimum wage and you're whinging and you want a pay rise, that's BS in my opinion.
Just become more valuable.
Up your skills.
Yes,
you need to read. You nearly realize that it's on you. You can point the finger, make excuses, blame other people, but you need to up your skills. What do I do each and every day? What do you do
Go
each
to a
and every
night
day?
school, a night class.
Constantly upping my skills.
Yeah.
Constantly reading, constantly self-educating so I can get paid more because I'm providing more value.
Sure.
Or I'm helping more people.
And the more value you add, people will start to see your value, and then opportunities that you never even would have thought of, people will just start asking you, and they'll just pay you, and you'll you don't even have to really like go and find it. Like, I guarantee you Grant Cardone doesn't have to go and like find a job or find people. Like, people probably are just coming to him all the time.
Constantly.
Yeah, because he provides a lot of value, right?
Do you think you can argue where people don't realize there's an opportunity to up the value because no one's ever kind of taught them?
Yeah, I do. I think that, and that's a tough reality, right?
Because I feel like I've been there too.
Yeah, where you just don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting
I agree with that. And I mean, you could argue the school system isn't really a good place for that. Because,
a horrible place for
yeah,
that. Because
I mean,
it teaches you to go and do that job.
Yeah, well, I mean, what was it? John Rockefeller, he's the one who created the school system as we know it today. Like, what, 1903 or something? He put like 129 million, which was a lot in 1903, into creating the board of education, basically, that we have now. And his goal for that is he wanted to create workers, not thinkers. Like, that's
Which is still today. Yeah.
It's the same system. And that's why it's starting to fall apart now, because social media and people doing different jobs that just you can't go to school for.
There's a little bit more awareness out there now with social media.
Sure. And there's a little bit like, well, he did it, I can do it. So I think that's where people need to go, is like, if you're following something on social media and you see them doing it, well, why can't you do it? Like,
And
just ask
especially
yourself that
now,
question.
like race and things like that, you're more likely to be able to succeed. You're not suppressed. I'm not saying you're not suppressed, but you're not suppressed as much because nobody kind of knows behind.
Nobody knows. Yeah, nobody knows.
Nor does it matter.
No, it doesn't even matter. And nobody knows what, is what guy is running the show most of the time. Or girl. Like, nobody knows that stuff. Nobody cares. Like, it's like, well, what value are you bringing?
Yeah, is this a good product? Yes or no? That's all that matters.
I follow plenty of girls too online that are doing business stuff because their value they're providing is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I don't care if it's a girl or a guy.
Half my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
like, they're awesome.
I love seeing it.
So, going back to the initial conversation of like, if you're looking for somebody, and like, I just saw one thing. What was it was some girl talking on a podcast or whatever, and about being high value, and the minimum her guy's gonna make is like $100,000 a month, and I'm like, do they know what that even means? Like $100,000 a month?
You're above the top 1%.
What are the odds of finding someone that makes 1.2 million a year, right?
And then not be overweight,
be over 6 foot tall, and be willing to marry you.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Like, how? I'll tell you this: if I was single, and I'm making over $1 million a year, right? I'm gonna pretty much be able to pick. I would probably be able, my mate would. I'd be able to have whatever choice I wanted, right? Yeah. So this is the thing. Do you know what qualities that guy would be looking for?
No, you have no idea.
Do you think it's just pretty girl? No, he can have any pretty girl.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
What are you guys going to talk about?
What do you think it is? Because you believe you're worth something, like, or that you're high value. He wants some girl that is just like, believe she's high value. No, hell no. Like, I want a super chill, super cool, super giving, super loving, right? You'd want all these like loyal, maybe he's like involved with like nonprofits, just like has like a mission, like
someone who's adding depth, somebody who's adding value to your life.
Totally.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly my point.
Have you seen these videos where what would you rate yourself?
I've seen a couple.
Oh my god! And everybody's an 8 or a 9.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks shit don't stink. Everyone thinks they're amazing. I was like, this is kind of delusional and crazy. And I mean, I think it's important to have self-pride and be confident, but there's people who thinking they're 8 or a 9 or even a 10. And I was like, if you're already thinking that way, that means you're already like you're expecting better, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're going through the world delusional. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of, people that expect things to just happen for them. And it just to be a certain way without really providing anything, and I mean, and you got examples of it too. That's the problem. You got people like, I'm just going to throw Kim Kardashian out there. Like, what real value has she provided for anybody? Let's go back to when she started, when people were following her show and all that stuff. What was she really providing? She didn't play music. She didn't write good songs or make poetry or write good, essays on thoughts and philosophy. She didn't help a bunch of people like feel great about themselves. Actually, I think she did the opposite. It's made people question, do I need to look like that? Do I need to look like this? I need to buy her makeup? Like, she made people feel... So my point is, there's examples of people that go out there and they just happen to have a lot of marketing behind them, a lot of money, and a lot of like media and TV, and they just kind of get sort of famous, right? And then people are like, oh my God, I want to be like that. And well, that's me too. I'm prettier, and why don't I? Well, you don't have all that money behind you putting that marketing to make you famous.
I don't watch that stuff, so I don't really know too much about it.
But you know who that is.
I know who she is. Was she just a reality TV star?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, her dad was like a real big Olympian. Well, I guess it's her mom.
Yeah. Okay. That's kind of like the Jersey Shore type crap too, right?
Exactly.
Just a whole bunch of douchey people.
Totally. The difference is she has some business sense to like, to use her brand to like start other projects, clothes and makeup and, and all that kind of stuff. And that's where obviously she probably made a lot of money, is doing that stuff, which is great. But how cool would it have been to add value to everybody and document like how you're doing that stuff?
It's so funny you say it,
but they didn't.
I always see on TikTok, especially the females, even some of the males, but your females like massive boobs, shaking the boobs, huge following, not providing any value to anybody ever.
Yeah.
Nor will they ever.
Yeah.
And it's so empty and it's so shallow, and they're not getting anything out of it besides just feeling a little bit special. They're not providing any value out of it. To me, the whole thing seems pointless.
Yeah.
And it could be a young 20-year-old girl. By the time they're 30, what is that doing for them? You know what I mean? Like, are they ever going to work a real job? Are they ever going to think... Yeah, do you kind of know what I'm touching on?
I know where you're touching on, and I think there's too many paths that those people that they can take to really figure that out. And there's probably gonna be a lot of things that happen in between there that that help them grow spiritually, and because I feel like we're all gonna learn one way or another. Either we're gonna learn unconsciously, and it's gonna take our whole life, to figure out what this is all about, or we're gonna kind of be more proactive and go find the answers, right? And find it a little quicker and try to learn and absorb. And that way we have longer time in our life where we get to enjoy it, really enjoy it. I mean, deeply enjoy it. So they don't provide any value. And now I think that area is getting really crowded there's probably like a lot of girls trying to do OnlyFans. And
it's messed up.
I find it very strange that a guy will even pay a subscription to see that. Like, you just go to Vegas in a nightclub, you'll see like pretty much a lot of that for free.
I want to let's touch on some of these stats. So 6 foot and over, you're in the top 14% in the world.
Yep.
6'2" and over, you're in the top 4% in the world.
Yeah.
Making it 100K a year. What do we? As about 14%.
It was
give or take.
100,000 a year, 6 foot tall.
Oh no, it just 100K.
Just 100K.
Yeah, just was it was about 14% or something, wasn't it? In the
I can
US.
Look it up on my
Let's look it up,
handy calculator.
and I'll continue talking while we look it up.
Yeah.
And then if we're talking overweight or obese, 60% of the population are overweight or obese. I don't know. It's very hard, like with looks, how to judge someone that looks like where everybody is.
I put any weight or any height. Would you want me to exclude married or include them?
No, I put whatever. I just want to see how many people are actually making 100 grand and up.
Well, single people, 2.5%
in the US.
In the US.
Is it really?
Yep.
Is it really?
Yep.
So you're saying 2.5% of people are making 100 grand and up in the US.
Yep. If you include married people, it's 8.3%.
So there you go, right? So and that's just one element. That's just one factor.
Yeah.
So you put the height and that together. What is the height in that? 6 foot and over and 100 grand. And single.
We did it. It was point.
But you put other things in too, didn't you?
I just did. I excluded married people, so I can include them. Any color.
Leave the obesity and stuff in there. I just want to see those two factors.
So leave obesity,
Yeah, I mean, you can be fat and ugly if you want to be.
but 6 foot tall.
6 foot tall and over 100 grand. Where are we at?
And I'm going to include married people, just so you can see.
And married people.
And married people. So fat and married people, you are included.
What do we got?
I got at least 6 foot tall.
Yep.
Any marital status, any race, any weight, earning at least $100,000 a year, 2.8%.
Damn. These girls got no chance. These girls are going to be single forever.
Forever.
And I saw a thing. There's a guy I can't remember his name, but he talks about the more successful a guy is, the younger and prettier he wants the girl to be.
That could be true, I guess.
I mean, that's just his opinion, but I get what he's getting at. Like, he wants someone who's attractive, someone who's not like you said, who's like maybe 40 and washed up and losing the looks. But you can argue with that. You develop, you're growing, you become a better person that you'd actually want to be with. But what he's kind of saying is, females' looks fade. We're in our 40s, right?
Yeah.
And we're still... the older we get, the better it works for males as far as looks and mature and the gray hair and the things like that. But it's kind of the opposite for females, when you say.
Yeah, I would say I would say that's more of a society.
It's shallow,
social
right?
standard.
It's super shallow.
Yeah, that's just how that's been for a long time. I mean, I would imagine that started when kings were trying to marry their daughters to other kings, other princes. Like,
I mean, Elvis's
he'd
wife
be like
was 17.
He'd be like 25 or 30. 25. And he's prince of whatever, and he's gonna go and marry the 16-year-old, right? Like, I mean, that's, or 14-year-old or 15 or
Something
whatever.
Disgusting, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of where that started. They wanted to make sure they were, pure and kept the bloodlines clean, and she wasn't tainted. So I would imagine some of that stuff started around those social standards, as kind of continued on. I just think the expectations of beauty has gotten so crazy nowadays too. Like, with buy this makeup make you pretty, do this Brazilian butt lift, do this, do that. All those things, and women are bombarded with some of that stuff. So, and even subconsciously, and young girls are bombarded with that stuff at a young age. They hear their mom say like, "Oh my God, I'm so fat," when they're really not fat. Like, maybe you need to go see what fat people look like, and go hang out with them and take photos next to them or something, so you can realize like, yeah, you're not fat, and you might like not be in great shape, but you're not fat. Like,
yeah, and I think like the most important thing is to grow in female or male, be independent, self-educate, get a degree, go to college, start a business, do you for you, and don't rely on someone else to do it for you.
Yeah.
And I've always said this, I can honestly say I don't want to win money. I want to do it myself.
Yeah.
Could you relate to that?
Yeah, because growing up pretty poor, my mom would always do like the lotto and like this, and like they want to win money, and you're like, that's going to fix all the problems. And it's like,
have you heard the stats? You're more likely to die driving to buy a lotto ticket than you are to win it.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's so awesome. True.
Yeah. Well, and then the statistics of the people that have actually won,
80% of them go broke within 5 years.
Within 5.
They're not
and
financially
then the rest
educated.
go broke within like another 5 or something.
And then a lot of them commit suicide and do crazy stuff, ends up making their life worse than ever.
Yeah, it's really crazy. That's crazy stuff. But that goes right back to like, if you don't have a good financial system in place now for like what you're doing and how you're running.
I like how you always say that.
Yeah, if you don't have that, it doesn't matter what you do next. Like, it really doesn't. You can, if you give a poor person $1 million, that's going to turn into zero.
Have you heard that? I was saying if you took all the money in the world, divided it evenly, within 5 years, the rich would be rich again.
Yes, that's exactly what would happen.
Because it's the education.
I know, and people think that, oh, well, everyone will be better. No, it'll be right.
It'd be exactly.
You just figure it out. Like,
and the people who don't understand it will hate on this.
Yes.
Oh no, I wouldn't. Blah blah blah. I guarantee you will.
If you're making a decent amount of money right now, enough to live, and you're not saving enough to keep yourself sustained for 6 months or 3 to 6 months, and you're not investing any of that money, that's it. I mean,
you're like Alex Hormozy. You like him, right?
Yeah.
I saw a video the other day. He's like, he goes, I'm tired of money. I had a guest on my podcast. He's like, dude, you got so much money. Buy yourself a nice car. And he goes, I bought myself this like really nice sports car. 2 weeks, I was over it. He goes, give me my Civic back.
Yeah.
He goes, the temporary happiness it gave me was so limited that. And I mean, I'm not saying don't do it. I know you love your cars and stuff.
And I agree with that.
But it's just honestly, it's great to hear it from someone so successful who can afford anything.
If you're not into cars, why would you buy a car? That's like saying, you know what, you have a lot of money. You should buy a really expensive signed guitar by the Rolling Stones. Like, why? Why would I do that? Like, I don't play guitar. Like, I'm just saying, like,
it was just so humbling to hear, because I'm a big believer of that. But it's just so humbling to hear for someone like that. He's like, dude, it's just a car. Like,
it is to someone like that, right? But you could say that about a guitar, right? It's just a guitar, but you talk to guitarists, it's way more than a guitar, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like everything, right? So that's what's neat about the world. There's so many different things. He probably does spend a lot of money on other things.
Probably gym membership or his personal home gym or something.
Food, I don't know.
Something that means more to him.
Yeah, like who knows what it is. And I'm sure there's something, vacation, trips, treating people, who knows? Like everyone has the thing that feeds their soul, right? And so usually it's not a money thing, but when you have the money, you can just do it much more freely.
I've got a question for you. Do you think a lot of us go wrong is buying our way to look successful to attract the opposite sex? And by doing so, we're keeping ourselves broke and poor.
Yes, but there's also the other side to it, right? Like you want to present yourself well. We're also lonely all the time, right? So you don't want to be alone. So you got to figure like, I think there's ways to look.
Well, I mean, you're wearing a suit right now, right?
Yeah.
But I guarantee it's not a $5,000, $10,000 suit.
No, I wouldn't do that. No, it
still looks good and it still looks nice. So you could argue at what level, right?
Yes.
And that could apply for a car. That could apply for a lot of things. You don't need to have the best of the best of the best when you can just be okay here. But it's like that mental state of realizing it's okay to be here and not trying to be here. And
understand that if you are trying to attract a mate with all these bells and whistles, right? And that mate is attracted to the bells and whistles, is she really attracted to you? So those are really important things to understand, because if you are trying to look like you have money, then the girls you're going to attract are the ones that are looking for guys that look like they have money.
The thing comes to my mind, if someone is attracted to me for the car I drive, they're not coming to me. I drive a $6,000 Camry, paid in cash. But what I do know, if somebody is interested in me and they're asking me, hey, what's the last book you read? What's your goals this year?
Yeah.
That's when you know you got someone who's probably the right person for you.
Yep. You know, it's funny when we're doing networking stuff, or when it's not a specific networking event, when it's just like meeting people. I'm meeting my wife's friends or whatever. I'm meeting somebody. And the first thing they ask is like, what do you do? I always think of a red flag. Like, why is that the first thing you need to know about me? Not like, oh, you know, how did you guys meet? Or, like they don't want to know anything about me personally. It's just like, well, let's qualify him. Does he have anything that like will benefit me first? And then we'll move on to the next part.
Where do I stand?
Yeah, like it shows a little bit of that.
I like that. That's interesting. Qualify. That's a great way.
That's what it feels like. I'm being qualified.
No, it's exactly what it is.
What do you do? And then I have to explain. I was like, well, where do I start? This is my other issue. Is like, okay, I am kind of an employee benefits producer. I'm kind of like an investor. I'm kind of like where do I start with all that stuff, right? Like I'm a business owner. I was a business owner. Like, I don't know.
That's interesting.
So
I like that.
Yeah, I don't like when people just need to qualify everybody right away.
I think so. To kind of wrap this up, what do you think? There's a lot of delusional guys and girls out there.
Yes, there are. Realize
that 14% of the population are 6 foot and over.
Yeah.
4% are 6'2" and over. 2.5% of the population make 100K and over.
Yep.
100K and over.
And 6 foot tall, not married, makes at least 100K a year, any race.
And is skinny.
And is not fat. It's not that they're skinny; they're just not fat.
Yeah, not fat. Doesn't mean they're walking around six-pack.
Doesn't mean they're in shape. Doesn't mean they're they're just not fat.
Yeah.
according to the census and whatever statistics, is 0.45%.
0.45%.
Which is pretty much everybody's dream guy, right?
I don't know where you find that person.
Yeah, I think that those are not really the best way to look for people. It's like hiring people based on, okay, they have this degree, they went to this school, they lived in that town, they're at least this tall. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be a good employee. That doesn't mean they're going to be a good husband. That doesn't mean, first of all, if you find that person, that doesn't mean that you're even going to be compatible, right? Because that person could be trekking in the mountains, living out of their van and, living the great life, the way that they think is a great life. And then you could be thinking, well, I want to have my Dolce Gabbanas and I want to have my red bottoms and all that shit, So it's like the odds of finding that person that's even compatible with you is already hard.
What comes to my mind is you found someone you're compatible with and you guys grew together, correct?
That's a big, yep.
And to me, that's probably what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Find someone you actually get along with.
Well, let me start first. First, I figured out, like, well, who do I need to be to be with somebody that's, like, going to be on the same journey as me and be, want to grow.
On the same journey as you, right?
Yeah.
Because you've both kind of taken that journey and then it's like those who don't increase you will eventually decrease you.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like you both got to be adding value to one another on a consistent
Totally. But
basis.
first, I had to start adding value to myself, right? And once I started doing that, and then just kind of naturally, I met my current wife, right? We've been married for a long time now. We've been together for 16 years.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. So, all that because I started improving myself and then asking myself the real questions. Well, in order to be with a girl like that, who's going to be pretty and awesome and driven and motivated and want to keep growing.
Well, I wish you went my schmuck out.
Yeah, I was like, damn, I got freaking work to do. That's how I felt.
I'm just
I was like, I got to clean up my credit. I got to clean up my, I had to really do a full cleaning of myself.
But that's probably the best thing you ever did, right?
It's 100%.
And if you didn't meet her, it still would have been the best thing you ever did.
I always joke with her. I'm like, you're the best decision I've ever made in my life. So.
But even if you never met her, you still were the best thing you possibly could have done for yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So just meeting her was a bonus.
Yeah, totally.
But and you also earned it and you're worth it.
Yep.
You're worthy.
I had a side note too that I wanted to bring up because we were talking about, guys that make a lot of money. The girl who would like the guy who makes $100,000 a month or whatever. If I was making over $1 million a year and I was single, I would not even look like I made $1 million a year. And this is the thing, because how hard do you think it is to date people when they know you make all that money? When girls just naturally want to just take you on a date because they just hope that maybe they'll be the one, right? So, because a lot of people are just looking to, for the free ride. They want to stay at home, they want this, whatever, which is nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is if you're a guy like that, like if it was me, for example, I would be looking for somebody who just has like a lot of value, like real like human value, like compassion. Maybe they're mindful. They're, they have a drive for something other than just spending money, like all those things. And how am I going to find that person if I'm always flaunting my $1 million? Because that person's not going to give a shit if I drive a Ferrari or, and have a mansion or I'm in a Toyota Corolla, because they're good people. They don't care. They just want a good person to be around and a good person that's going to support them. Right. So my odds of finding them in that situation is going to be even harder. Yeah. Because now I'm going to get shielded and surrounded by all these fake people that just want to be around money. So if I was that guy, I would probably not look like I had any money at all.
Dan Blizzern is the first person that comes to my mind.
Really?
You think about it, you know who he is, right? Poker player, he's worth millions of dollars. He's always hanging out with pretty girls in bikinis, in yachts. But the chance of him finding a deep and meaningful person doing what he does is probably next to impossible.
Yeah.
But if he was to step back and just do his life and then have that money on the side. And I'm not picking on him at all. I have no idea
if
what
that's what you want to do, that's great.
He does a great job of it.
But if you actually want a real, relationship
for someone who likes
that's
you,
going to be deeper than just your money.
It's definitely not that
the
way.
amount of your bank account. That's not going to be compatible.
Yeah.
Because deep relationships aren't formed like that.
No. Yeah. I totally get what you're getting at.
Yep.
All right. So sum it up.
Keep it real.
Yeah, do you for you. Build yourself. And if by doing so, you will attract the right person. And if you don't, you're still bettering yourself each and every day, becoming the person you're capable of being, correct? You
can pick and have parameters for the person you want to be with. I do think that's true. But I think that you need to ask yourself, like, who do you have to become to match up with that person? Because, it's probably a way bigger gap than you realize,
Being real with yourself.
Being real with yourself.
Which is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching.